Welcome to the podcast, It's Not You, It's PCOS. Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Nick.
We are two expert, accredited practicing dietitians and nutritionists specialising in nutrition for PCOS and fertility.
Together we have over 25 years of experience, and we want to reassure you that if you have ever tried to make diet and lifestyle changes and failed, it's not you, it's PCOS.
Stay tuned as we share our favourite evidence-based nutrition and lifestyle tips that we use with our own clients every day,
so that you can start to feel your best with PCOS. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. It's Not You, It's PCOS. I'm Nick.
And I'm Laura, and today we are going to be talking about a hot topic that affects most women with PCOS, and that is bloating. It is uncomfortable, unpredictable, and it can really disrupt your day and how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, and bloating with PCOS isn't just bloating. It's not just about eating something that doesn't agree with you. It's often tied to more of those PCOS-like symptoms like inflammation, insulin resistance, gut health, and even hormones. So today we're going to get into why it happens and what you can do about it.
Absolutely. So we're going to, look at the why a little bit more closely because, like you said, Nick, it's not for the same reasons as for someone who doesn't have PCOS. And the reason being is that women with PCOS, a lot of women with PCOS have insulin resistance, and that can lead to higher levels of inflammation, which slows down digestion. And then it can make our digestive system more sensitive due to that inflammation and prone to bloating.
Yeah, and it can make you feel like food is just sitting in your stomach, which can obviously lead to that uncomfortable bloating feeling.
Exactly. So hormones also play another role in this picture as well. With PCOS, we know there are hormonal imbalances, especially around your cycle, and that can lead to water retention and changes in digestion. And that can really increase bloating as well. So that's one part, but then there's the other part, which is the gut health piece. So emerging research shows that PCOS is often linked to gut dysbiosis, which really means that there's more of that bad bacteria than the good. So that also can, with having the gut microbiome being off balance, can also contribute to this picture of bloating and digestive upset.
Yeah, and we often find that women living with PCOS do tend to have that kind of sensitive gut. And in fact, there's research to suggest that women that do have PCOS have a more narrow microbial diversity, microbial diversity is a key indicator of gut health. So if your gut's a little bit off, you are more likely to experience that bloating, discomfort, and other digestive systems. But the good news is that by improving that microbial diversity, there's actually a lot of practical steps that we can take to manage it. So let's move on to some strategies. These are certainly things that you can start doing like right now, today, to help with PCOS. So Laura, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. Firstly, tip number one is focus on fiber and the right kind and amount. So fiber is one of these nutrients where, we definitely want you to meet your fiber requirements per day, but we don't want you to overdo it because that can upset your stomach too. So fiber is really important for gut health and managing insulin resistance. So it has that dual effect, which is great, but too much at once can also disrupt your digestive system. And that's particularly from a fiber that is high in FODMAPs, and they can make the bloating worse. So Nick, what are these high FODMAP fibers that we should be kind of a little bit conscious about if, you're in the thick of this bloating situation?
Yeah, so FODMAP foods, or I guess we should probably define what they are. So fermentable, oligosaccharide, disaccharide, monosaccharide, and polyols. So if that sounds like another language to you, they're basically all foods, or a lot of foods contain these medium chain carbohydrates and they're known as FODMAPs. And they're harder to digest, as Laura said. So certain foods like garlic and onions and certain fruits are potentially high in these FODMAPs, so these harder to digest foods. So if fiber is causing you issues, trying to switch to a lower FODMAP option, like say a spinach or a zucchini or a strawberry, that could be part of the balance in trying to work out what works out for your body.
Great. And as you increase fiber, it's important to increase your fluid. So tip number 2 is stay hydrated. Make sure that you're getting enough water, not just coffee, which I see a lot of this sort of scenario in practice, that lots of women are reaching for coffee as their main drink of choice. What we want to do is actually make sure that we're having a lot of, that you're well hydrated and having a lot of water. And I know it sounds too simple, but dehydration can actually lead to water retention, which sounds kind of intuitive, but it's your body's way of holding onto water when it's not getting enough. So if you're drinking a lot of coffee or tea or caffeinated drinks, this is a reminder to balance it out with water. I'm not saying totally cut it out, but just be mindful of your water intake and meeting your fluid requirements.
Yeah, and plus when you're actually hydrated, it helps your digestion work smoothly. So keep a water bottle handy throughout the day. It can make a massive difference. And if you struggle with this, you're not alone. Many of our patients, I'm sure, Laura, you can attest to this. Many of our patients just find it really hard to get their fluid intake to what their requirements are. So it's just about keeping on chipping away and working on one thing at a time, right?
Absolutely. I always say keep a glass by the sink, and every time you pass the sink, have a glass of water as a daily reminder. So yeah, that's one tip that I share with my clients that they find helpful. So another tip that we've got for you is incorporating anti-inflammatory foods. Now, anti-inflammatory foods are available in lots of different forms. I particularly like the ones that are in herbs and spices because I think they add make food tasty and they're underutilized. So things like turmeric and ginger and cinnamon are great options if you have PCOS, but also other anti-inflammatory food are your leafy vegetables, your healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil and nuts, which are just easy add-ons to what you're already eating. So it's not going out and totally changing the diet, but being more conscious of what those anti-inflammatory foods are and adding them into your diet. And they can make a big difference. So yeah, give it a go, adding a few more of these anti-inflammatory food sources.
Yeah, so I reckon adding ginger and turmeric is an amazing thing you can do to reduce inflammation. And ginger tea is also a great option if you're feeling bloated or nauseous. So you could even sprinkle that turmeric into a smoothie or a soup. It's pretty simple. Definitely one of these 1%ers that with a balanced, healthy diet, plus all these anti-inflammatories on top of that, that can certainly help with your bloating. So let's move on to tip 4. So this one's, I'm very passionate about this one, and I've seen firsthand what it can do to reduce bloating. And it's something that you probably wouldn't expect. It's just to move a little bit after meals. So it's really easy and it's super effective, as I said. So try gentle movement after meals. I'm not talking about like a HIIT session or anything like that. That's probably going to be pro-inflammatory rather than anti-inflammatory. So it's more like do some vacuuming or, clean up the kitchen or go for a 10-minute walk. And so what this can do after eating, it just really helps with your digestion, and therefore it helps to reduce bloating.
It is such an underrated tip, and I can't tell you how many of my clients will say that's made a huge difference. And it's because movement helps with your blood sugar levels. So you're going to improve insulin sensitivity, you're going to improve digestion, and help that move things along. So that's fantastic. You're hitting the insulin resistance piece. You're helping your gut with gravity, being up and about. So movement, so helpful for that. But yeah, if you have time, I always say go outside, get that fresh air, and try and just even spend a couple of minutes outside, but if not, then standing up and stretching can be helpful, or just doing a quick walk around the office, whatever it is. Try and incorporate a little bit more movement after meals, and if you can aim for the 10, that's even better. Okay, our last tip is consider probiotics and for your gut health. This is our 5th tip, and it's one that is a bit of a double-edged sword. So let us explain why. Probiotics can be really beneficial for women with PCOS. They can support the gut microbiome and in turn reduce bloating. And that really comes down to, someone, a dietitian, really being able to prescribe a specific strain, and that's going to have the best impact. Unfortunately, for others, if you do just pick any probiotic, it can make bloating worse. So that's just something to keep in mind, that yes, probiotics can be a great tool in the toolbox, but being specific is the way to go in terms of reducing those symptoms. But a good starting point is actually including the probiotic foods. And Nick, you're like the king of probiotics and this space. So I'm going to leave this part to you. Where should someone start if the probiotic supplement's a bit overwhelming? Not sure which one. Can't really say dietitian at the moment. I always say food is medicine. Start there, and then if you need the support of a supplement, we'll go there. But yeah, what's some probiotic food that we can add? Where can we start with that?
So are you basically calling me a bacterial king, or a king of the microbes?
That's fair.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Well, I do have a lot of microbes. But we all do, so it doesn't make me unique. So to answer your question, I guess it depends on the individual when it comes to those probiotic foods like yogurts and kefir, sauerkrauts, kimchis, foods like that. They can actually make your symptoms worse. So it really depends on how sensitive your gut is and what the makeup of your bacterial ecosystem looks like. So it's always a good idea to start off slowly with these types of foods as well, not just the probiotic supplement, but also the probiotic foods. So you're not having a whole tub of yogurt in one sitting or anything like that. It's just graduating up slowly. And if you notice a therapeutic benefit, or if you notice a benefit in terms of your bloating by consuming these foods, then you're definitely on a winner. But if you are sensitive to these foods, well, at least you'll know, and you'll know to avoid them. So it's pretty simple. It's not going to be harmful if you try out these foods, particularly in small amounts. And they do contain those natural probiotics. And they can sometimes be easier on the system than supplements. So in closing, I think that's a wrap for today's podcast. And some of the main takeaways would have to be balancing out your fiber, staying hydrated, adding those anti-inflammatory foods, herbs and spices as well. Move after meals, which is that personal favorite of mine, and consider probiotic foods and supplements as long as they work for you.
Exactly. And remember, bloating can be really common with PCOS, but there are lots of different ways that we can manage it, lots of tools in the toolbox. But small changes can make a really big difference. So if you have enjoyed this episode and you want to take some action today, the message is go slow. Do it. Pick something and go slow.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today on It's Not You, It's PCOS. If this episode was helpful, make sure to subscribe, share it with your friends, and of course, drop us a message if you have any questions. We'd love to hear what works for you, because everyone is different when it comes to beating the bloat with PCOS.
Thanks, everyone. Stay well, and we'll catch you next time on the podcast. It's Not You, It's PCOS.
Bye for now.